Welcome back, everyone. The iPhone SE3 came out recently, so let's go and compare it against the first iPhone SE, one of my favorite iPhones of all time. Now, these two iPhones are quite a bit different, and I will tell you, going from the original iPhone SE to the SE3 is an upgrade for sure, but I don't know if it's the best upgrade you can make. I will leave some phones I will recommend this year, link down in the description. You can get them from there, and you can help support the channel at the same time. Side by side, you can definitely tell the original iPhone SE is a substantially smaller phone than the iPhone SE3. The original iPhone SE had a 4-inch panel on the front, and it was a pretty good panel overall. Like, it's not a bad, ugly phone. It is quite a bit dated nowadays, but we're kind of used to it. This was an older iPhone that came out in 2016, so it's approaching 6 years old now, and I think we're pretty much accustomed to this iPhone being this type of design. But it's not a cheap feeling iPhone. It still feels extremely premium still, and you can probably pick this thing up for like $40, probably in a ton of places. With the iPhone SE3, it's a bigger phone, like I mentioned. It has the same design as the iPhone 8 pretty much. It is a bigger phone, 4.7-inch panel here, and it's still a pretty good phone, in terms of build quality. It's just this phone came out 2022. This phone came out 2016. So even though these iPhones are very, very, far apart in age, the design isn't super crazy. This one is just a bigger phone. That's pretty much the best way to put it. And interestingly enough, though, we do have a flat side on the iPhone SE. The whole entire design is like that. The iPhone SE3, on the other hand, is, curved. So definitely doesn't feel bad. But this is definitely the more current design is with the flat sides, which is funny because it went away and then it came back. Now on the back, we have a different type of setup as well. We got a single camera setup up in the top left. We do have the Apple logos here, but we have the glass back overall on the iPhone SE3, where we have the aluminum back on the iPhone SE1. So you still have like kind of two glass shards on the top and bottom, but overall the iPhone SE3 definitely feels a lot more premium. It is a much more, I guess, premium feeling phone overall, but the original iPhone SE, for how old it is, it's still a very premium feeling phone for sure. This one does not feel like a cheap phone by any means. So in terms of the outside, that kind of covers it up there. Some other big things to keep in mind: the iPhone SE3 does have wireless charging and it does have IP certification. The original iPhone SE does not have any of those types of things. Now, in terms of software longevity, this is probably the bigger difference between these two. The iPhone SE1, I mean, it's got supported for quite a bit of time, but it doesn't look like it's going to be supported for that much longer. Possibly iOS 15 is going to be the last version of software that it comes with. So to keep that in mind, to give you some perspective, the iPhone SE, on the other hand, the 3 model, is going to be lasting for many, many more years. There's really no end in sight for the iPhone SE3 yet, possibly 5-6 years, maybe even more than that if Apple switches things up. So this is, again, the upgrade that you would want. If you like the design of the iPhone SE1, you should go to the iPhone SE3 because this one is going to be lasting much longer than that original iPhone. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best iPhone. There are still phones that are going to be supported for many years, like the iPhone 11, the iPhone XR. Even the iPhone 10 is still a really, really big upgrade coming from the iPhone SE1, in my opinion. So in terms of that covers it up there. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these devices. The iPhone SE3 has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 GB of RAM, where the original iPhone SE has that Apple A9 chip inside of it with 2 GB of RAM. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both of these. Okay, there we go. Hopefully you guys can see the displays on these phones. So the original iPhone SE is here. The iPhone SE3 is to the right. So let's get into it. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. And definitely the SE3 is faster. Music, 3, 2, 1. And different panels for sure on both, so we'll just kind of go back here. Let's go and hop out of both of them there. Let's go and get into their app stores, 3, 2, 1. And did get a pop-up here. So not too sure which one was the faster one there. They kind of had different panels, but we'll just kind of scroll through here and then just kind of see what happens. And both are kind of scrolling through fine. Let's get into clock, 3, 2, 1. iPhone SE3 still faster. Camera, 3, 2, 1. Probably faster on the iPhone SE3, hopping out of there. Photos, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone SE3 is faster. Now, let me show you when I click the home button how similar they are or how different they are. 3, 2, 1. And they close out of the applications at the same time. That's still a really big deal in my opinion. I would like it to be faster on the iPhone SE3, but that's not the case. We can do podcast, 3, 2, 1. Pop-ups on both, but the pop-up came up faster on the iPhone SE3. And as always, we have a bunch of these third-party applications we can go and load up. So let's get into it. Facebook, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone SE3 is faster. iPhone SE1 a little bit behind. Twitter, 3, 2, 1. Again, iPhone SE3 is much faster. The iPhone SE1 a bit behind. Let's go and get into Snapchat, 3, 2, 1. And this is kind of an outdated version of Snapchat here. Hopping out of this one. Let's do Netflix, 3, 2, 1. iPhone SE3, again, is the faster one here, which is expected. BOFA, 3, 2, 1. iPhone SE3 is faster. The iPhone SE1, quite a bit behind here, so definitely seeing some differences. Tempo Run, 2, 3, 2. I don't even have Tempo Run 2. I do 3, 2, 1. And it is looking like the iPhone SE3 is probably going to be the faster one here again, with the iPhone SE1. So a little bit behind, definitely nothing crazy, but some things to keep in mind. And you can see the iPhone SE3 substantially faster here. We are seeing some pretty big differences here for sure. Snake first blocks, 3, 2, 1. The iPhone SE3 is still faster. iPhone SE1 a little bit behind. Let's go and get into Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. SE3 is faster. SE1 a little bit behind. Let's go get into Dropbox, 3, 2, 1. And again, the iPhone SE3 is faster. So we're kind of seeing a trend here. I'm definitely going to tell you the iPhone SE3 is substantially faster than the iPhone SE1. This is a pretty big difference here. Typically, we don't see these big of differences within like technically 2 generations, but there are many different, variations of chipsets between these. I mean, there were many years of, difference between these. So these are big things to keep in mind. So when it comes down to that, I don't know why I keep getting these pop-ups. So definitely when it comes down to it, the iPhone SE3 is substantially faster. So that kind of covers it up there. Now let's go and hit on the cameras. On both these phones, you have single camera setups on the back, 12 megapixel sensors. A big thing to keep in mind between these two, the iPhone SE3 can do 4K at 60 on the back. The SE1 can only do 4K at 30. Also 1080p on the front of the iPhone SE3. I think the iPhone SE1 can only do 720p. Now, the original iPhone SE pretty much stemmed from the iPhone 6s camera, so it was pretty much the same camera on the back, and definitely isn't the greatest camera anymore. I mean, it definitely could be a little bit better, but it could be worse too. It's still a decent camera for its size and its age. You don't have a crazy amount of modes. I mean, you do have like time-lapse and video mode. You don't have portrait mode, you don't have cinematic mode, but the iPhone SE3 doesn't have cinematic mode, but it does have portrait mode, which is nice. Overall, though, the photos are pretty good for its age and the size and the price, but it is definitely a dated camera when you look at it nowadays. The iPhone SE3, on the other hand, this is definitely a better camera. You're definitely going to be getting a better sensor here, which is really nice. You have things like video mode, like I mentioned, you have slow mode as well. You have portrait mode too, which is really big. The iPhone SE1 does not have portrait mode, but this iPhone does have it. So that's a pretty big deal in my opinion too. Having that type of capability of having portrait mode is really cool. Unfortunately, this phone, the iPhone SE1, doesn't have it, but the iPhone SE3 does have it, which is really awesome. So when it comes down to the camera quality, I'll definitely tell you the iPhone SE3 is a substantially better phone when it comes down to it. And that kind of also takes us back to the beginning. I think going from an iPhone SE1 to an iPhone SE3 is a pretty big upgrade for sure. I mean, you're definitely going to be getting a faster phone, better battery life, better camera, longevity for sure. But I also think going from an iPhone SE to an iPhone 10 is a really big upgrade too. So you don't necessarily have to spend the $429 on this iPhone. If you want to buy a brand new iPhone, then go for it. But if you're comfortable buying a certified refurbished or used iPhone in any capacity, well then, you could go get an iPhone 10R, and that would be a big upgrade too. And that would honestly, in my opinion, be a worthwhile upgrade. I think the iPhone SE3 is a good phone in terms of internals, but exterior, you're going to be getting kind of the same thing. I would love for you to go and see if you want to go with the certified refurbished or used route, and getting something like an iPhone 10R or getting something like an iPhone 10 or iPhone 11, those are solid upgrades too. And those are probably the ones I would probably recommend going to. So that kind of covers it up. If you have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.